So hello, welcome back to Going and Gaming. My name is Az, and today we're going to be speaking about 4 ways that you can refresh, revitalise, rethink and reframe your Flesh and Blood experiences, how you play and experience, and sort of just play the game, really. Before we go into it, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, hit a little bell notification if you want to be notified of my face every time I do a new video, and check out my links in the description box below to all of my awesome sponsors and affiliates here on the right hand side of your screen. But yeah, we're going to be speaking about how to sort of rediscover Flesh and Blood. I know Flesh and Blood is, going to change a lot as of the announcement that we explored recently, but it alludes to a lot of things, and I think we are going through a change now of Flesh and Blood, and I think the next few things I'm going to be speaking about are all fantastic ways to revitalise your sense of the game, your perception of the game, if you're not a sort of pro player as such. So the first thing goes without saying. I've done a series on this. I'm directing and editing the UPF series, and that is play Ultimate Pit Fight when you can, because this just brings people together to play stupid decks, play stupid combos, and just play the game in a way that it was never designed to be played. So it's just a fantastic experience. It's very clunky, and you can't really build your deck to be hyper optimized and all that sort of stuff, because you can get attacked from two sides rather than just one-on-one. So politics comes into it, social aspect comes into it, having a laugh comes into it, and that really does sort of reframe and rejig your mindset on the entire thing. And remember, Flesh and Blood is just a game. It's just a game. It's cards, it's pieces of art on cards that ultimately represent numbers that you're counting down. If you think about it in that way, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's just a game. But it's all about the experiences that you have, the friends that you make along the way, and if you're enjoying yourself in the world, in the lore that they've created, then fantastic. But just have fun. Have fun with the game and experiment with Ultimate Pit Fight, because it is perhaps the best time I've ever had playing Flesh and Blood. Not only because I've experimented with awesome creators in the sphere, and shout outs to Kel, Stephen, and Bill on the UPF series. You do a great job on it as well. It's just a fantastic way to play. So get some friends together and just sling some cards around on the kitchen table. So definitely experiment with UPF when you can. Second way to experiment with the game, again, is Commoner. Another format that's come to the limelight recently, albeit this could be prone to getting broken. But saying that, Commoner is another great way to experiment with weird decks and restrictions that wouldn't actually be able to see play normally, I don't think, with obviously the absence of Majestics and Legendaries and Supers and all that sort of stuff, and obviously Rares as well in the actual card pool. You can only build with commons, and therefore it gives you that sense that you're getting restricted even further. So it allows you to experiment and play with different heroes and try different card combinations. And I think that really does, once you get into the brewing of commoner decks, you start thinking differently. And I think that's why Commoner, and obviously the aforementioned Ultimate Pit Fight, when you start playing with cards that you never would play with otherwise, it sort of opens up a whole new world. It's like a game within a game, almost, UPF and Commoner, because you're experimenting with things you wouldn't normally do so if you were just playing the hyper-competitive 1v1 Flesh and Blood aspect. And as again on the video I did regarding the part 2 of the statement, they say that playing the game is about more than competitive play. And again, yeah, UPF and Commoner are fantastic ways to experiment and reframe your whole perception on what the game is and what you want to achieve from the game and what you want to experience. And that's what Flesh and Blood are really asking us now, is what do you want to achieve? What do you want to share? They're putting these things on the website like UPF and Commoner rules to allow the community to pick it up and throw it back onto the screens and onto the internet for people to enjoy. And I think these formats are fantastic for that, because you do get a lot of enjoyment, a lot of experimentation, a lot of representation and diversity in these formats, because it's not hyper competitive. I think that's what we need. We need UPF, we need Commoner to bring more diverse characters into the game that just want to experiment, just want to get their personalities out there, however weird and wonderful they might be. And I think, yeah, those formats, UPF and Commoner, are great ways to expand upon that. So yeah, UPF and Commoner, definitely ways to reframe and rethink your Flesh and Blood journey and experience. The next part, I would say, sort of ties into UPF and Commoner, and that is experiment with a new hero. Play with a new hero. If you're, so used to playing with Viscerai, if you're so used to playing with Starvo, I know that, if you're playing those decks, you're going to be very, very competitive and what have you, but there is a place for experimenting with new heroes. If you're fed up of just creating rune chants all the time, then play with something different. Play with a different hero, even if it is for fun. And that's what this video is all about. Having fun with the game. And to do that, I think you do need to experiment with what you're doing. If you're just playing the one deck over and over and over and over again, you're just going to get boring, isn't it? You have to experiment with different heroes. And I think that is, again, it goes without saying, one of the best things you can do to reframe and refresh your view on Flesh and Blood is trying different heroes. And it fits in so well with the fact that they have released Ultimate Pit Fight rules recently, or a revamp on that, as well as the Commoner rules, because it tells you, right, these are the restrictions that you can go with. Now try and experiment with a different hero. Something you wouldn't normally play in a hyper-competitive 1v1 classic constructed game. Play a stupid hero. Play Genis. Play Kavdayan in these Ultimate Pit Fights. Play Azalea in Commoner. She's good in Azalea in Commoner, right? That's what we hope, anyway. But yeah, play with new heroes. Another fantastic way of refreshing and reframing your thoughts on the game. And finally, the fourth thing that I think is paramount to experiencing the game and the whole culture around it and what's being created around this game right now, and that is get involved with your community. Whatever that might entail, whether that's creating content, creating a social media account so you can get closer to the people that inspire you. Just get involved with the community, talk to people. I'm speaking to so many people at the moment from all over the place, all over the world. I'm speaking to people and building these relationships. I think that is just the best thing that you can do to really connect. Because the game is a game. The people playing the game are people that are similar to you. You're playing the game for the reason of playing this game, whether it's for the lore or what have you. But the other people that are playing it are going to be similar to you. They're playing it for the same reason. So find your community, find your voice. If there's something you want to share, just share it. Whether that's a YouTube video, whether that's a Twitter comment, whether that's, whatever it is, just share it, get out there. And, I know a lot of people in my Discord, link in the description box below, by the way, who don't have Twitter. And, there's a lot of us that do want to avoid social platforms, and I understand that. But I do think there is a sense of fulfillment and involvement and this whole group dynamic that everybody is in it together. There hasn't been one bad experience that I've had with Flesh and Blood community and the people that play it so far, after a year of being involved with it. So yeah, get involved. If it means creating a Twitter account and just following your favourite accounts, you don't have to say anything. It just makes you feel like you're more involved because you're seeing what's going on in that sphere and in that space, which I think is paramount to just feeling like you are involved with the game at large. And while that space is still small, Twitter is still small for the Flesh and Blood community, you can still get involved with that. You can still put your thoughts and feelings across, and people are going to pick up on that, and your audience is still waiting there for you. Again, I went into a content creation video. Link might be floating above my head somewhere. But yeah, I think that getting involved with the community, again, is another way to reframe, revitalise and refresh your Flesh and Blood experience, because you might pick up on other ideas from others. You might hear about others' experiences and think, oh yeah, that sounds good, I'm going to do that. I heard, I think it was Elaine on Twitter recently saying that her LGS has just picked up Commoner Armories. That's fantastic. I loved sharing that because of the fact that other people are experiencing the things that we talked about today being built up. It's a whole new game beneath the competitive, not even beneath, maybe side by side eventually, but there is obviously this whole perception that Flesh and Blood is the most competitive, zero variance game that you can play. But there is an entirely different game that you can play in the background, which is thematic, flavourful, jank, stupid, fun, social. And that's the way I like to play. I mean, yeah, you'll see me at some sort of event for Uprising. I haven't decided which one are we doing yet. I think it's still going to be local to the UK, unfortunately. But you will see me there, probably crashing and burning and scrubbing out on the first day, but just having fun with what you want to do. But yeah, that's the bottom line. Just have fun with what you want to do all of those things, experiment with all those things, and I guarantee you will have a better time. Maybe not a better time, but a revitalized time, refreshed, reframed your mindset on the whole game. But yeah, just get involved. I've been Az from Go Again Gaming. Have a lovely day. Peace.